Aloha, it's Joy here, and I am going to share with you a simple craft that you can do to make for yourselves or your friends or your grandkids, or you can make it with them. It's very simple. First, you're going to take a 12 by 12 cardstock like this, and I am using a gadget called a scoreboard, and I just want to explain why. It has measurements here and it has ridges. So when I put it in here and I measure it up, it gives me nice straight lines. But if you don't have a scoreboard, what you can do is you can actually just measure it off with a ruler and fold it in. So this is, I'm just going to score this one. So 12 by 12 sheet, we want to go 4 inches and 8 inches for the first one. Okay. Now for this, turn it this way. And now we're going to do the same thing. What we're trying to do is create 9 even squares. So again, if you didn't have a scoreboard, what you would do is you would just measure 4 inches and fold it, measure 4 inches, and you'll have that done. Okay? So next thing we're going to do is we're going to just fold it. So fold at the score lines, and this is why I said it kind of helps because it has the nice creases. And if you have something like a bone folder or even a pair of scissors, I would use this side of the scissors because it's rounded and smooth, and I would use that part to actually help fold it. It just helps makes the lines crease. And for those of you who have done origami before, you know how creases are really helpful because they always help make the project go a little faster and easier. So now I have my 9 squares. So what I'm going to do is this particular one, I have a right side and a wrong side. Even though it's white on both sides, I have a preference because this side has texture. So I want that to be on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn it over, and I am going to take from this corner to this corner. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm actually going to fold it like that. Line this up so that you can get your corners done. Okay. So we're just doing our corner like that. We're doing one corner, and we're going to do all 4 corners. So again, really easy. If you had printed paper, you could use this with printed paper and just do something really simple and have a cute little basket. Okay. Take this one, fold it up, crease it down. And again, you know, when it's like this, you can use your scissors to make it a nice sharp course. So we have 1, 2, 3, we have 1 more left. So there we go. We like to use cardstock because it's going to be a little bit firmer. Okay, so put that down and just do that. Okay, so we have our 4 corners. Now I'm going to take it, this is, like I said, this is the right side. So I'm going to put it this way, and I'm going to take a hole punch. But let me show you before I do the hole punch. The reason why I wanted it to fold that way is because this is what's going to happen. These are going to come up like this. We're going to gather it up, and it's going to be your basket. So that's why it's easier if you turn it over and you fold those corners so that the crease goes the way you want it to. Okay, so I'm just taking a 1/4 inch, a regular old hole punch, and punching right there in the corners. Okay, and you can use yarn. If you have yarn, you can use ribbon. You can use any kind of scrap type of cording that you have to fold it up. I happen to have some ribbon, so I'm going to just take a bunch. And if you want to be very efficient, you would actually thread it before you cut it, so I'll do that. And this is the way you should thread it, okay? You go in from one side and go across, okay? So go across like that. Okay, so we got it cinched in the middle. Now, what you want to do is, now I think I'm going to cut it because I want to use this side. So I'm taking about maybe 24 inches of ribbon. Now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to go from here And this is where you want to help, because you want to help the ribbon a little, because you don't want to rip the holes. And we're going to go from here to the other side. Okay, so I bring it in. And it's all going to cinch up in the middle. Okay. So now you kind of work it slowly with the ribbon so that you don't tear it. Okay, now you got it all done. See how easy that was? And you can tie it in a bow, like so. Okay. So we got it all cinched up. And then you can just tie a bow, or you can leave it this way, however you want. And just do a simple bow. And I will cut this off. And you can fix up your bow however you want. If you use something like curling ribbon, you could add a bunch of curls, whatever. Okay, so if this was printed, or if I just want a solid color one, this would be done, and I can fill it with treats. But we like to make characters, especially the keiki. They like to make different animal shapes. So we're going to finish it off and make it into a panda. And that's why I use white. I think always having white paper around, and because I love pandas, it just works out great. So the way I do things is, you know, pandas, raccoons, they have this little, I don't know what you call it, an iPad, whatever. Not an iPad, but an iPad. And so I just draw my own. I look at how big the area is, and I will get my pen or pencil, and I will just draw what I think the shape should be, which to me is sort of like a mango. I always think about food. So I think it kind of reminds me of a mango shape, because on one side it's a little bit thinner than the other side, but it's not exactly a teardrop. Okay, so I make my little pattern from scraps, and then I see if I like it. And I'll see, like, okay, I think the eyes are the right size. Then I will get some black cardstock, and I will trace it. I'll trace 2 and cut it out. And what I did is, I'll show you what I did. This is my trick, because as we get a little bit older, sometimes we don't want to work with tiny little pieces. So what we do is we cut out the big piece, but then we use a paper punch to make the small piece. And instead of taking the paper punch and punching out the shape and gluing the shape on, we use the other side of it as the color. So this is my little eye thing, and I'm going to take a punch, and I'm going to punch out a hole. So I'm going to take that, right where the eye should be, I'm going to punch out the hole. Now normally you would be maybe taking this little black dot and gluing it on. Instead, because we have the white, we can just glue this on, and there it is, right? So that's easier. And then you take a Sharpie or some other kind of marker, and then you can color in this part. So that takes it a little bit less. You don't have to worry about fumbling with a tiny little piece. Just do it that way. Again, cut out a little nose. I decided to make it a heart-shaped nose. Now the other thing I do is, I do like to use punches, but you don't have to. So I used this 1.5-inch punch, and I trimmed it down just a little bit, and I used some of this double stick tape. Now when it comes to double stick tape, some people like to cut it, but for me, I don't, because no one's gonna see it. So it becomes invisible, so I just rip it, and it's very easy to tear. So you just put your double stick tape, and then you're gonna put your ears behind there, like that. Now, my little, I wanted to make it really look cute, so I put the little pink cheeks. I didn't have a punch on hand, and this is what I'm saying. You don't necessarily have to have the punch. Look around your house. You might have a bottle from spices to make the ears. For me, those little cheeks was a tiny little nickel, you know, just a nickel. And I just traced it around. And what I do is, I just trace one, and then I will fold it and cut 2. So kind of like measure once, cut, measure once, or actually it's supposed to be measure twice, right? And cut once. In my case, it's measure once and cut 2 at one time. And then you got your cheeks. Very easy. So this is a simple project. If you look at it, if you change the colors, you can make it into a regular bear. You can add long ears and make it into a bunny, or little pointy ears and you can make it into a cat. So whatever they want, they could put a different animal in each one, or you can do it just for the fun of it. And like I said, it's super easy. So this is a simple craft that you can do with both yourself, your friends, or the keiki. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you watch another of our craft videos.